right behind the paper I was going to read is a poem, so I'll read that first. Chickpea to cook. Familiar, probably. Consider yourself a chickpea. Chickpea and the cosmic cook. Right? A chickpea leaps almost over the rim of the pot where it is being boiled. Why are you doing this to me? The cook knocks him down with a ladle. Don't try to jump out. You think I am torturing you, but I'm giving you flavor. So you can mix with spices and rice and be the lovely vitality of a human being. Remember when you drank rain in the garden? That was for this. Grace first, sexual pleasure, then a boiling new life begins, and the friend has something good to eat. Eventually, the chickpea, us, will say to the cook, boil me some more. Hit me with that skimming spoon. I can't do this by myself. I'm like an elephant that dreams of gardens back in Hindustan and doesn't pay attention to his driver. You are my cook, my driver, my way into existence. I love your cooking. The cook says, I was once like you, fresh from the ground. Then I boiled in time and boiled in the body, 2 fierce boilings. My animal soul grew powerful. I controlled it with practice, and boiled some more, and boiled once beyond that, and became your teacher. Chickpea. Here we are, chickpeas. We're all in the pot, cooking.
So delicious.
So delicious, but not always easy.
Sometimes you get stuck to the bottom of the pot.
We're attached to the pot.
Or many chickpeas.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor. So here's a quote from Murshid Sam about this. So shadow. We talked about illuminating the shadow, which is really, you can draw your own connections to how that might be cooking a chickpea, but there is a connection. Shadow is created by light interfering with light. Shadow is created by light interfering with light, different gradients of light interfering with each other. The higher the grade of light, the more it is able to resolve in itself the interferences associated with denser shades of light. And then it goes on to say, it is said of Muhammad, he cast no shadow in the noonday sun. So, how I understand this is that it's all light, just different gradients of light. From denseness, which feels dark, to refined, which we know as more light. So if we know that the denser parts of ourselves are also light, that just, what we're doing is we're breathing more spaciousness into them. That is what the process of enlightening is about, or illuminating. And so it's not really somewhere else. There is nowhere to go. This gate, we're going, but we're going here. This is about arriving and being present with ourselves, and this work of illumination. You know, they say we're all illuminated, we just don't know it. So, you know, our work is to, you know, keep bringing the light of awareness, the light of love, light, plain old light, to the parts of ourselves that feel more dense or more wounded or more closed. And it's really pretty simple. Except that, you know, we are, like you said, we get stuck on the bottom of the pot. We get attached to our identifying with the parts of ourselves that feel hurt or wounded, or there's a language for this called nafs, and which is also these gradients of light. And so the most dense, and you could also say it's a language of identification, how we identify ourselves. So the highest level of nafs is really realization, and the most dense level of nafs is like intense attachment. And so we're working on ourselves. All the practices that we do, this kind of shining of the mirror, is a way of working on ourselves to refine. We can't really get rid of anything. You know, it's all in us. They say the body holds the memory. If you get hurt, the first thing you usually do is you kind of go, and in that breath it is stashed in your body in somewhere, someplace, some little cell holds the memory of it. And we all know that, you know, something happens, and the way the memory works is not linear. You know? And so something happens, and all of a sudden we're in an experience that it isn't rational necessarily. It's, you know, we have a memory or association or a reaction. And, you know, so this way, you know, what we're really wanting to do is take note of all those things and integrate, refine, learn to love the parts of ourselves that we don't think are so enlightened and beautiful. Do you all know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There is this, you know, kind of interesting circumstance of suffering in our world, and we all have to kind of figure out what that's all about. And, you know, our friend Sadi, I know many of you here have studied with Sadi, and he's been, you know, just such a wealth of wisdom, and really bringing forth the teachings of Jesus in a contemporary form that's very digestible for many folks. And one of the images that he has brought forth is this sense of gathering, you know, that we gather into the table of our heart all the different parts of ourself. That we gather our enemies, our friends, all those parts of ourselves. I'm sure you can find, if you go looking inside yourself, you can find some part of yourself you don't like so much. And it's not really helpful to treat that part of yourself unkindly. You know, I mean, this kind of human kindness, the forgiveness, all these things, we really need to learn to pour that kind of healing into our own selves, so that then we are more wholesome with each other. So let's see, what else is in here? Here's a poem that Nagin Senzaki wrote. So Nagin Senzaki was Murshid Sam's Zen teacher. No living soul comes near that water, a vast sheet of water as blue as indigo. The abyss has a depth of 10,000 feet. When all is quiet and calm at midnight, only the moonlight penetrates through the waves, reaching the bottom easily and freely. What Wanadine says about that is, he says, Nagyan, which means no such person, that's the translation of his name, had compassion for every level of his being, and every level responded with no obstruction. Should I read it again? Paul? No living soul comes near that water, a vast sheet of water as blue as indigo. The abyss has a depth of 10,000 feet. When all is quiet and calm at midnight, only the moonlight penetrates through the waves, reaching the bottom easily and freely. So, we want to be able to reach into our depths and have compassion on every level. And, work towards having no obstruction along the way, which really means like not turning away from yourself.